Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the Fire Situation Report for Monday, October 3rd, 2016. I'm Daniel Berlant, coming to you live from the CAL FIRE Information Center. Wow, has fall started? Cooler temperatures across the state, but last week we still saw an increase in fire activity. In fact, in the early part of the week, you can see here some footage from the Loma Fire in Santa Clara County. This is obviously not what fall should look like. So don't let the cooler temperatures right now fool you. Conditions are still very dry. Now, the Loma Fire, though, is definitely not looking like this today. In fact, let's go ahead and show you a snapshot of some of the work that's being done. You can see some of the burned area on the fire. But as of today, the Loma Fire has burned 4,747 acres. It is 81% contained. And as you can see from this image, there was destruction in this fire. In fact, 12 homes were destroyed by this fast-moving fire. Now, crews are very close to full containment on this blaze. There is not the same activity like we showed you that footage earlier. Again, that was footage that was shot last week. Right now, crews are getting towards full containment. Now, the cooler weather that we experienced over the weekend, even some rainfall in some parts of Northern California, definitely a welcome sight for firefighters on the front lines of this fire. Full containment of the Loma Fire is expected by Saturday. I want to switch over to our statewide fire map, and we can zoom in exactly to where the Loma Fire has been burning. It's been burning right on Loma Prieta Ridgeline. This is up in the Santa Cruz Mountains below, just south of San Jose. So here you can see the South Bay here as well. Santa Cruz and some of the cities along the coast down over here. This is where the fire burned, just to the east of Morgan Hill, south of San Jose. We'll zoom in just a little bit further. You can see the perimeter itself of the Loma Fire. Again, 4,700 acres in total have burned on this fire. It is 81% contained, full containment nearing by this weekend. Another fire that burned this past week was the Marshes Fire. It was burning in Tuolumne County. This fire just north of Don Pedro Reservoir, over 1,000 acres burned, but the fire is 90% contained. As you can see from these images here, crews still working to get complete full containment, but the forward spread of the fire has stopped. Crews are making sure the hot spots of that fire are put out. We'll go ahead and show you on the map exactly where the Marshes Fire was. This was a very fast-moving fire, and those living in the Tuolumne and across the foothills saw exactly just a huge plume of smoke. Again, here's Modesto as we zoom in here. This is just to the east of Modesto by up into the foothills areas. The community of Moccasin, that was the closest community for where this fire burned, just off of Highway 49. In fact, if we zoom in just a little bit further, here you can see Lake Don Pedro Reservoir right in here. Highway 49 running right through here. This is Moccasin. Again, 1,000 acres or so burned, but the fire now, that forward spread has stopped. Crews are working towards full mop-up. Fire that started back in July, the Subranas Fire, is now 132,000 acres. The fire, according to the U.S. Forest Service, is now 94% contained. These are some images from the U.S. Forest Service that is in command of the fire. This fire has been burning now for several months, but crews are making very good progress. In fact, as progress has been made, evacuations in many areas have been lifted. But the Subranas Fire still is active and still burning in some parts of the Los Padres National Forest near Big Sur. A couple other fires I want to show you on the map here. The Sawmill Fire burned 1,500 acres in Sonoma County. You can see as we zoom in here, this fire is north, just to the east of Cloverdale itself. 1,547 acres in total burned on the Sawmill Fire, but it is now fully contained. Another fire that was contained over the weekend by the U.S. Forest Service was the Cedar Fire. It was burning just near, as we zoom in here, you can see near Lake Isabella. Here's Lake Isabella itself. This is the Cedar Fire. The fire burned, according to the U.S. Forest Service, 29,322 acres. You can see community of Alta Sierra, this fire just to the north of it. This is Evans Road right through here that runs right along the perimeter of the fire. Again, according to the U.S. Forest Service, the Cedar Fire is now fully contained. If we zoom back out on our statewide fire map, you'll see there are still several fires that are burning in California despite those cooler temperatures. Firefighters are making progress, though, with those cooler temperatures, I should say. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 active fires still burning across the state, but full containment is very close to several of these. Again, the Loma Fire, as I mentioned, 81% contained. It is nearing containment. Just to the south of it, the Subranas Fire, 94% contained, very close to full containment. But if you want more information on some of these other fires, you can always visit our website at fire.ca.gov and get the latest. But the most active fires, the Loma, the Marshes, and the Subranas, are all three, very close to a full containment. Now let's talk about what we can expect for the rest of the week. In fact, if you stepped outside most of California, we were seeing cooler temperatures. In fact, we'll switch over to some of our Weather Service maps here from the National Weather Service. Look at the temperatures today. Relatively cool, 49 degrees in Tahoe, 68 in Sacramento, in the mid-70s in Los Angeles. So we're definitely seeing cooler temperatures with fall beginning here as we transition into October. But we are going to start to see it warm up. In fact, by Friday, we could see temperatures go up about 10 degrees. This is not going to be extreme. These are not summer temperatures, but they are going to be warmer than we are seeing now. 83 in Sacramento by Friday, 89 in San Diego, 84 in Fresno. So we will see the temperatures start to go up later into the week. Now our humidity, though, that is another area of concern. Here's today's humidity. You can see humidity is going to be pretty high in Northern California. And that humidity is important because as we have more water vapor in the air, if a spark does occur, it's not as likely to ignite. And even if it does ignite, it's not as likely to burn as quickly. But look here, California is almost split in half. Northern California, high humidity. Southern California, humidity is higher. Now, where we have areas in the red, that's where we're getting humidity in the 20s. This darker red down here in Southern California, that's where we're in the teens. So there are still plenty of areas in California where the humidity is still a concern. And as we go into Friday, look at this. Humidity decreases almost everywhere in California. So we're definitely not out of the woods yet. And even though we got a little bit of rain in some parts of Northern California, that rain was a good relief to the drought-stricken parts of California. But those cooler temperatures are nice. But it's this humidity and those still continuing drought conditions that will have a hold on the fire risk come this week. So the other concern, though, that we are going to see is the winds are likely to pick up. In fact, look at this. Winds along the eastern Sierra are going to be 20, 30 miles an hour. Pockets of Kern County, even San Bernardino County, we could see winds 40 to 50 miles an hour. So winds will definitely be very gusty. On those cooler days with the higher humidity, it's not as much of a concern, but as we talked about later in the week, when the temperatures do start to go up and the humidity does go down, these winds could play a factor in new fires igniting. So enjoy the cool weather right now while it lasts, but don't let that cool weather fool you. Fire conditions are still here at a high level for sure. Now, as we transition into fall, we want to talk just a little bit about some of the things you should be doing this time of year. Forest health is very important, making sure our trees are healthy. The little bit of rain that we saw in Northern California along the Sierra, definitely a step in the right direction. But if you have trees on your property, you want to make sure that those trees are healthy. Now, here's some ways you can avoid those trees dying or being susceptible to pests like bark beetles attacks. So first, with those cooler temperatures, this is the best time now. If you have any dead trees or other trees that are unhealthy, they're dying, this is the time when you want to remove them, when temperatures are relatively cooler. Not only is it the best time to handle your forest health and working on your trees, but it's also cooler so you're not as likely to spark a fire if you do it safely. Another thing, remember, remove the dense underbrush. We talk about this all year round, especially during summer, but during the fall months, this is a good time when those cool days, go out there, remove the brush under the trees, allowing those trees to take as much of the rainfall as we get so that they're able to absorb that water and not have to have the competition from the dense underbrush underneath. Now, water your high-value trees if rainfall is below average. So if you got rain this week, you don't need to worry about the trees. They're going to start to soak it up. But if we go into a period later in the next couple of weeks where we don't see a lot of rainfall, because we are going to expect to see a La Nina weather pattern, which means likely we could see below average rainfall. When we go into those periods, this is the time of year where you should make sure you're watering those high-value trees. Give them enough water along the root edges, not at the base of the tree like like you would for the plants, but look for that drip line around the tree. Look from where the branches are ending. That's the area you want to make sure that water is going in. Give them a nice soaking, but again, make sure it's only those high-value trees. And lastly, wait to plant trees until temperatures cool down and the soil moisture increases. So in the next couple of weeks, this will be a good time. If you do need to put some new trees out, this would be a good time to stop by your nursery to pick out a tree that's native to California, but that will also help provide plenty of shade on your property. For more information on some of the fall tree season tips on how to keep your trees healthy, make sure to visit readyforwildfire.org. We have a whole section on forest health where you can do your part to ensure your trees are less susceptible to bark beetles. Now, Chris had a question. Any updates on the Tobin fire burning on the Plumas National Forest? So we'll go back here. You can see here's the Tobin fire right here. It is still active. According to the U.S. Forest Service, the fire is 248 acres and is 90% contained. Now, if you want more information on the Tobin fire, be sure to visit the U.S. Forest Service's website, instaweb.nwcg.gov. But you can find all this information and a lot more on our website, readyforwildfire.org. Again, those tips you need to make sure your trees are healthy, make sure you are fire safe, and for the latest on all the fires burning in California. That's the latest on the fire situation in California. I'm Daniel Berlant. Have a fire safe week.